Welcome to another Meta Monday. Today's deck is Ceruledge EX, a deck that got a massive boost from the Mega Evolution set, taking it from a low tier 2 pick to a potential tier 1 powerhouse. And in this video, I'll break down the deck list, go over the core cards, and show you some ranked games that I played so you can see exactly how the deck works and just how powerful it really is. So here's a list that I've been running. The game plan is very simple but effective as well. You load your discard pile up with energy and then you hit for huge damage using Ceruledge EX. Now, how do we achieve this? There's 3 core cards that make this deck tick. There's Ceruledge EX himself, the star of the show. Its attack, Abyssal Flame, does 30 damage plus 20 more for each energy in our discard pile. The more energy you cycle, the stronger it gets, and it can be a snowball effect very fast. Our second core card is Lunatone. One of the new cards from the Mega Evolution set. Its Lunar Cycle ability lets you draw 3 cards and discard an energy every single turn, keeping your hand full while fueling Ceruledge's damage, making it that much easier to get those one-hit knockouts. Our third most important core card is the one that has to go alongside Lunatone, and that's Solrock, the partner card that enables Lunatone's ability. It's also an incredible early game attacker, dealing 70 damage that ignores weakness and resistance, which is huge, and it gives us a real answer to Cornerstone, which used to be one of our auto-loss matchups. Together, these 3 form the backbone of the deck and turn Ceruledge EX into a true meta monster. Now, the list itself is pretty standard, so there's not many text to highlight here, but I do want to mention real quick our ace spec, which is Legacy Energy. It's an amazing defensive option that forces your opponent to take 1 fewer prize, which can completely throw off their prize mapping and buy you an extra turn you need to win. If you prefer a faster, more aggressive approach though, you can easily swap it out for Brilliant Blender to boost your damage output earlier so you can take one-hit knockouts sooner. And before we jump into the games, if you're enjoying the video so far, please hit that like button and subscribe for more Meta Mondays, Rogue Thursdays, and my 1-month 1-deck series every Saturday. Alright, so game number 1, we start off by seeing a Fez and a Wellspring, and then we see a Teal Mask. So initially we're thinking, okay, this is either Terra Box, or this could be the Ogre Box as well, because this is all running there. And it's just what you're thinking so far. It's like, okay, which one is that going to be? As for us, our prize mapping stays the same no matter what we're playing against. It's pretty much, in this case, just going to be trying to take multiple 2 prize knockouts turn after turn for 3 turns. Here we are able to get down that Lunatone, and then we were able to just get through and cycle a whole bunch of cards this turn. I was debating about using our research here. It would put a lot in our discard, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. We do get a new hand, and we do find that Ultra Ball, which is huge because that means that we still have access to another Ceruledge next turn, even though we discarded 1 last turn. The only thing that we're missing in this hand to make it great is a Fire Energy so we can actually attack. Here we did hit with that Solrock just for 70 damage, make it nice and easy to knock out. And here our opponent is setting up multiple Teal Masks. They do have the Wellspring with a Water Energy. They play out a Lily's Determination. And generally, if it is Terra Box, their way of winning is like knocking out one of our Charcadets plus either Lunatone or Solrock, depending on if we have a copy of either in our discard, because we only run 2 copies of each, so that way then they can actually shut our draw engine off. Here they are playing down a Nest Ball, so we're trying to figure out exactly what they're going to be setting. And here we actually see what the deck is. It is just a Raging Bolt that's running Wellspring Ogrepon in it as well, which I'm actually pretty surprised about. But now that I'm thinking about it, for Raging Bolt, I do think that that could be a very good tech, especially in the current meta. Now, and with that Lunatone draw, we did find a Fire Energy, so we are going to be able to knock out this Fez this turn. We also have a Jet Energy, which we only run 2 copies of Jet Energy, but it's very necessary if you come across like any stall deck or any sort of like control deck, you definitely want to have those as a option that you can draw into so you can actually get a knockout. Here, we can't get the knockout on the Fez. We don't have enough damage, so we are just going to use a boss, knock out a Teal Mask that had the most energy on it, and that way we are hitting for ×2 weakness, so we can get that 2 prize this turn. We do just have easy access to that Fez at any point if we get another boss, so it's not really that much of a problem for us. We did weaken down that Fez anyway. We also can just rely on Solrock later on if need be to be able to 2-shot it as another option of winning the game too if we don't see like our Legacy Energy, because this is definitely a one-shot versus one-shot matchup, and Legacy does come in clutch for us in these type of matchups. Here, our opponent is just going to use a Crispin, so we know that they are going to be knocking out our Ceruledge in the active right now. They have enough energy on the field to do so. They only need 4 energy to do the knockout. And here they have another Nest Ball, so they get down another Raging Bolt. And I think if I were in their shoes, I would try to get down one more Teal Mask, because ultimately, if we can find another boss next turn, then we can just aim down the Teal Mask on the bench and take away a huge amount of their energy acceleration, making it 10 times harder for them to actually get a follow-up knockout again on their next turn. And generally, that's what you want to do in this matchup as well, is just try to focus down their Teal Masks. You hit them for weakness, which is very good, so that way then you can get those out. You do need a lot of energy to be able to one-shot a Raging Bolt as well, so you're really just playing around getting to your bosses. Here we top deck a Fighting, which is great. We do get to draw 3, and we actually find the boss, which is huge. That means that we can actually knock out another Teal Mask, forcing them to only be able to have 1 Teal Mask next turn most likely, unless they want to use even more resources to get another one down. So they're definitely going to be behind right now, and with this Ultra Ball, I decide let's just grab the Charcadet. We do have Night Stretchers, so here we are able to get down another Charcadet. We are able to use a Night Stretcher to get a Fire Energy as well. And we are holding on to the Charcadet in our hand. The reason why we do this is because they still have the Wellspring. We don't want to give them a opportunity of bossing up one of our Charcadets and then being able to torrential pump both of our Charcadets on the bench and knocking them both out, leaving us with just our Ceruledge, because that's definitely an avenue that our opponent can take to win the game. Here they play out their Stadium Area 0, and they do play down a Latios, which is really nice for them. It means that we can't like retreat lock them, but we don't really rely on any retreat locking. We don't have any effect that can actually do that for us, but it is just something nice to think about as well. Here they play down a Mew, and they do have the boss, so our fears were correct here. They do manually attach, and then they have the Night Stretcher to be able to get a Grass Energy back to get a draw and put a energy down on their Teal Mask, and then the energy switch to go with it. So they will be torrential pumping this turn, and now they have to make a decision. Do they go after the Lunatone or do they go after the Solrock? We did discard, if I remember correctly, a Lunatone, so that would be the correct decision. But there's a big issue that they did. They left us with a Ceruledge. So we can easily get the knockout this turn just by using research to discard our hand, and we do enough damage for game. Alright, so game number 2 is against a Rogue deck. Now, I really like playing against this deck and seeing it, because I do think that there is some merit to it. It is a Hydreigon deck, so as you see, they're running Oddish, which is very odd, but this deck actually got a lot of support from the new set, specifically the new Grass Stadium, the Forest of Vitality. And I see now why they're running the Oddish and everything after playing this matchup, because I do think that that's actually a really strong way of running Hydreigon. If you can get the combo going real quick, you can definitely just win the game as soon as like your second turn. So here, as for us, we are getting our engine completely started. We are able to get down a Ceruledge real fast, and get a bunch of energy into the discard. We have another Solrock in our hand, but we don't really need it. We also had the Ultra Ball that we could have used, but we would have had to get rid of our Pal Pad plus the Solrock, because we'd want to hold on to that Fire Energy for next turn to put on like a Charcadet if we get it. And here they are playing out a Arven. They do have 2 energy down so far on their Daño back there, and they do get a rare candy, so I'm expecting to see a Hydreigon this turn. They will have to find a way of getting their Oddish out of the active, which they just attach an energy. So they're only going to be able to hit for 200 this turn, but we don't have another Charcadet set up right now. So we're going to have to use this Ultra Ball most likely to be able to set up a second Charcadet. And then we do top deck into the Ceruledge, which is huge. So that's one of the pieces that we need. And then we actually just naturally draw in from the Lunatone draws into another Charcadet. So we have everything set up. Now we're not worried. We know that they're going to be taking 2 prizes next turn, but we do have everything to try to get them back in the crackback. So here they are just going to Ultra Ball to get down another Daño. They have 2 Oddish in the background too, and they still just haven't found their stadium yet. And they do mill us with that attack, and they actually hit our Legacy Energy, which is really bad, because if this does go into a EX war, then we definitely need our A spec, because they can just go 2 prize, 2 prize, 2 prize. But with Hydreigon, they are also able to just one-shot our basics, so that is another reason why the Legacy Energy can come in clutch, because we can just attach it to one of our basics, and they effectively get 0 prizes for knocking it out, forcing them to have to go through our EXs. Now in here, we are just able to get through a lot of cards, be able to put a lot into the discard, and put just enough so we can actually get the knockout here. And that's huge, because now they have to find another rare candy, they have to find a Crispin, and they would have to find a Hydreigon. So their hand would have to be exactly those cards. And as you see, they have a Super Rod, and then they just pass. So that's huge for us, because that means that we can actually take another knockout here. We were hoping to find a boss, but we don't. So what we are going to do here is use our Night Stretcher, fully set up another Ceruledge. That way then they can't just knock out our Charcadet and both of our Lunatone and Solrock in one turn if they were to find a way to fully power up the Daño and turn it into a Hydreigon next turn. Here they throw up another Oddish, and they're just trying to get their Daño into a Hydreigon. Here they actually have the Forced Vitality, but they just use a rare candy to go into the Vileplume. And this card, I do think, is really strong with Hydreigon. And with Forced Vitality, I do think that that's probably the best way of playing Hydreigon if you're wanting to play it in the new format as well. Here we are just going to take a knockout on that Vileplume, and now it's all down to, do they draw into a third rare candy plus a Hydreigon so they can actually start attacking. Instead, they have a Precious Trolley, so they're going to be able to fill up their bench. They do get down 2 more Daños and a Fez, so they get to draw 3 more. Now they're at 4 cards, so there's a higher chance that they can actually have it. They discard 2 energy, they find the Hydreigon, they have the Arven. Do they have another rare candy? They don't. They have the Counter Catcher, so they're going to have to use Counter Catcher, boss up the Fez, and hope that we don't have a energy in hand to be able to retreat this Fez and win the game. But we do have the energy, so we just immediately go into the Ceruledge, and that is going to just win us the game. Alright, so game number 3 is against another Raging Bolt, but this one's running a bunch of spicy cards in it instead of your traditional Raging Bolt. So I definitely wanted to show this because I do think that this Raging Bolt could be really good too. As for us, we got to start the game going first, which is huge for us. We run 4 Carmine, so that's generally what we want to see, and we are also running Squawkabilly as well. So here we do get a Charcadet set up, and our hand is looking really bad, but all we would really need is to just draw into like a Nest Ball or a Fighting Gong, and that would get us our Solrock, and we would actually be able to draw. Here we see our opponent's ace pack was that Precious Trolley, And then they're also running the bug catching set to find grass energy too. So that's what I was meaning, is like they're also running the Sandy Shock, they're running Bravery Charms on it. This is just a list that's filled with spice, and you know, props to them because they really cooked with that list. Here they do have triple Teal Mask down on the field. They also have the Latios +1 Raging Bolt, so they're easily going to be able to knock out any Ceruledge that we get down. So there is merit to just not putting down a Ceruledge for a little bit and try to fill up our discard as fast as possible, or we need to see multiple bosses, but we already see that one of our bosses is in the bin, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult than what we would want. Also, this is one of the matchups where like Fez is good because you're going to be able to use it often, but at the same time it's really bad because they can easily boss it up and knock it out just for 3 energy, which is really easy for them to get down on the field. Here they do get to take a knockout with their Sandy Shock because they have 3 Pokemon that have an energy. So that first attack does do, I think, 90 damage in total. So it's really good as just a 1 prize early turn knockout type of Pokemon that they're running. And here we are able to just get into a really nice hand. We got down the Lunatone, we're able to get down to Ceruledge, we got the Legacy Energy, so we were able to put that on our Ceruledge, meaning they only take 1 prize from it. And I'm really debating about throwing down this Fez. I do decide to play that, and then I just Carmine just to get a new hand. And then here we actually do use the Fez as well, so we can see 3 more cards. And we do get down another Charcadet. We have this Earthen Vessel, so we can use it, get some more energy into the discard. And we will grab 2 fire, so that way then we have some fighting in case we need to search it out. And sadly, we are 1 energy off. So what we should have done is we should have Fez'd first before we Carmine, because there was a high chance that we would draw into an energy, so we could actually discard that, and then we just need to find a way to discard 1 more energy, and we would have been able to get the knockout on this Sandy Shocks. Instead, we basically just gave them a free turn so they can get a knockout on our Ceruledge anyway. So we really kind of dropped the ball there. That is a major mistake that we made, but we were also trying to see as many cards as possible, because if we saw like a Ultra Ball, then we would have been able to get 2 energy into the bin immediately, and that would have been able to get us enough to get that Sandy Shocks down. But those are just small things that you really need to think of in these type of matchups. As for our opponent, they're really just seeing everything that they need to see. They got 2 energy on each Teal Mask. They have all the energy on the Raging Bolt that they need. And they're just going to take this knockout, take only a single prize because of the Legacy Energy, but still, like, we're not going to be able to do enough damage to one-shot this Raging Bolt. Luckily, we do have a boss, and they actually get rid of 4 energy off of their Teal Masks, so there's only 1 Teal Mask that still has 2 energy, but at the same time, they do have 2 more Teal Masks on the field. We do have to go for our only win condition, though, which is just trying to boss up the Teal Mask and try to limit how much energy they can get down on the field. As you see, we're only doing 190, so we are just going to use this Fez. We find double Night Stretcher, which is huge because we can actually get a Charcadet back, put that down on the bench so we can go into another Ceruledge next turn because we expect this one to get knocked out. Here we are just going to boss up their Teal Mask that has energy, knock that out. And our prize map, if you're wondering, is pretty much knock out 2 Teal Masks and the Raging Bolt. So we knocked out 1. We want to knock out this Raging Bolt next turn and then go for 1 more Teal Mask, and that should be game at that point. Or we'd go for this Raging Bolt and then go for a second Raging Bolt if they play it. But we're hoping that they don't play a second Raging Bolt down on the field after we knock out this first one, because that means that they're pretty much going to be going for game by knocking out our next Ceruledge as well. So here they are just completely drawing as many cards as they need, getting as much energy on the bench as possible. They do just naturally attach another grass so they can actually discard nothing but grass for the Raging Bolt if they want, and that will be enough to get the knockout. But this does put them in a predicament too, because if I can get enough energy into the discard this turn, I can actually knock out that Raging Bolt, take away all but one energy that's on the field, which they have on the Sandy Shock, and that kind of limits their opportunities of actually winning the game. But at the same time, if they're running this many like Teal Mass, there is a high chance that they could be also running a superior energy retrieval, and that's all they would need to really win the game, that plus a Sawdust. And here we are just setting everything up. We do just enough damage to be able to knock out that Raging Bolt and setting ourselves up to win the game next turn. And now it's all down to this singular turn. Do they find the Raging Bolt? Do they find enough energy to be able to put onto the bench and onto their Raging Bolt to get the knockout? So here they put down a Bravery Charm on their Raging Bolt, which is looking good for us because that kind of signifies that they don't have it. But here they do the Sawdust, so they're able to get 2 energy onto the field, 1 onto their Raging Bolt and 1 onto that Sandy Shock. And then here they have the energy retrieval, which is all they need to actually win the game. But as you saw, if we didn't do that early mistake and actually knocked out the Sandy Shock, I don't think it still would have mattered as much. The fact that they got a early 1 prize knockout kind of messed up the math that our Legacy Energy was trying to give us anyway. It did still give us an extra turn, but it didn't really matter as much as what we were needing it to matter in this matchup because they were able to take that early knockout. So here are my final thoughts on Ceruledge EX after testing the new changes. The addition of Solrock and Lunatone is absolutely massive for the deck. They make setting up and pulling off boss plays that much easier while fixing many of Ceruledge EX's biggest consistency issues. Right now, I'd place Ceruledge EX solidly in high tier 2, and it definitely has the potential to climb higher with the right techs and meta shifts. It's a powerful, fun deck to pilot, and I highly recommend giving it a try for yourself as well. Now, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more Meta Mondays, Rogue Thursdays, and my 1 month 1 deck series that I post every Saturday.